meeting. We have just concluded our closed portion. Time is 8:40, and reporting out from the closed are two items. First is council had a discussion on short-term rentals bylaw and clarification of legal aspects, which will be put forward at the next council meeting. I believe that is June 17th. Second item was council had a conversation about fire services review and the optimization and ongoing support of our fire rescue services in Lions Bay, which went very well. So, with that, we'll move to the adoption of the agenda. Is there any amendments to the agenda?
Did we amend the agenda earlier on?
We did, we done the agenda. We amended it to include a discussion about the dates for the CO review.
We didn't put forward, I don't believe we amended it. We talked about a discussion. There were two items on the table. One is the on-table report for the information report for the work plan for discussion with council and CAO in open. The second was the CAO evaluation discussion and setting a date for that.
Okay.
So do we have a motion to add those to the agenda?
So
Okay, Councillor Broughton.
Hang on a minute.
Second, Councillor Abbott. Second.
I wanted to talk to it, okay.
We'll move the motion and you can speak to it.
Okay.
Okay, seconded by Councillor Abbott. Discussion, Councillor Abbott.
What I'm trying to say, earlier, we approved the revised agenda to include in the open just the discussion about the dates. That's what we approved earlier.
No, I don't believe we talked about that. We didn't, there was no. We did not. That's the agenda is to approve the agenda is item number 4. And that comes after the reporting out of closed. Okay. So,
but if I could, just for clarification, as I'm understanding from council, what you're wanting to add to the agenda is not those two items. You're wanting to add to the agenda a discussion of date selection.
no, it was one was the date selection on the CAO evaluation. The other was a discussion.
I see. Okay.
On the on-table report.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, any
The on-table
further
report
discussion?
being what?
Pardon?
The on-table report being what?
Being, well, here, I'll hand it out. This was the on-table report that was emailed out.
Can you
earlier
hear me
this
now?
afternoon. And I'll also hand out the CAO evaluation. This is just so that we can decide on a date. Have further discussion.
So,
And this was these are the same two topics that were put forward at the special council meeting that unfortunately didn't have a quorum.
so you're waiting for
Okay.
a question to be called.
Okay, so any discussion before I call the question?
Yes, okay, discussion.
Okay,
So what I heard from Councillor Cunliffe earlier is that she's not ready to have this discussion tonight
on which,
on either. And that this was going to be a conversation about picking a date soon to get both of these things done. That's where my head's at, and that's what I thought we were doing. And unfortunately, Jamie's now silent.
okay, Councillor Broughton, any comments?
Councillor Cunliffe is,
She says, to be clear, I was in favour of selecting a date for both these items. These were not on the agenda. She said that to all of us.
okay. What I'm hearing the mayor say is asking to put this on the agenda.
Yes.
In order to just to have a general discussion, not to make any decisions, but to have some kind of general discussion. I think we're getting into real time sensitive time. And that it would really be helpful if we took a little bit of time to decide what direction we want to take, how we want to process, rather than setting a date to talk about a date. I just would really encourage that we we look at the work plan, which is a work plan for the community, for council. And it's not accepting the work plan, it's not, it's a work in progress. So it's been brought on table by the mayor and,
Sure.
and it's just whether, my understanding is the mayor is suggesting that we have some discussion about that.
Okay, I'll just comment. There's two items to be added to the agenda, the motion on the table calls for. One is the work plan for discussion with council and CAO. This is no more than a discussion, but we've had 3 councilors weigh in on it and rate the various items on the work plan in high, medium, and low priority. We still have 1 councilor which has not submitted any information, but this has been out in the with the councilors for the last week and much longer than that in the past. And as I mentioned, it was to be discussed at the special council meeting, which unfortunately didn't have a quorum. The second item on the table is the CAO evaluation discussion, which is again a discussion, but this is something that's roughly 18 months overdue. So I think it's important that we have a discussion. If we want to set a date for a discussion, that's fine, but this was a committee of the whole. And a committee of the whole is where we normally would have a discussion, because any other time, of course, we can't have a discussion if there's more than 3 councilors or mayor and 2 councilors present. So that's the motion on the table, is to add these 2 items, and I'm comfortable with firming up a date. I'm also comfortable with discussing the work plan, as that's gonna, I'm sure, go through many changes and have suggestions from staff and also from council. Okay, any other comments before we call the question? Do we have Councillor Cunliffe online? Can we see her vote if?
She did give a thumbs up for the last, so Councillor Cunliffe, if
So-
you could give us a thumbs up if we can't hear you. Or a thumbs down.
Why don't I just phone it? This is going to be good. She's sending text. Why don't I just phone it?
Do you want to put her on this?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Or you can.
I don't know
call
if
her
I'm,
from
do you know if I'm,
Yeah, I'm gonna-
hang on, how do we do this? You call?
She's saying Wednesday, Jim.
No, it's good. We're gonna
6:04?
604 355 1464.
1464.
Hey there.
Hi, Councillor Cunliffe. Did you want to add any suggestions, or sorry, any comments before we call the question on the 2 items to be added to the agenda?
As I stated earlier, I would be prepared to discuss, sorry, I'm hearing an echo. Both of these items at a chosen date, and I propose June 11th, next Wednesday. And we can discuss the work plan by email prior to that meeting. That would be my suggestion.
Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor of adding the 2 items to the agenda?
So the one item was to set the date for the CAO evaluation, is my understanding, and the second item was to discuss the work plan, have a discussion of the work plan.
Yes.
Okay, that's my understanding of what what we're adding to the
Okay, we're
agenda.
adding, as Councillor Broughton stated, we are adding the CAO evaluation for discussion of a date for a future discussion, since we were not able to get a quorum at the last special meeting. And the other is the work plan discussion with council and CAO. We're looking for input from 1 councillor and also some feedback from staff. So all in favor of adding these 2 items to the agenda?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
Okay, Councillor Abbott opposed. Councillor Cunliffe?
Opposed.
Okay, Councillor Cunliffe opposed, so the motion is defeated. 2 items are not added, and I guess they
Can I put
remain
forward-
outstanding.
Can we put forward a motion to add the one item? The discussion about the date,
We just had that,
well, can
we
we,
turned that down.
well, we had you asked for 2 things, I'm suggesting, friendly amendment, can we just do one of the 2 things? That's so we can get some progress.
And what is the motion?
The motion is that we have a discussion and pick a date, hopefully no more than the next week, to deal with these 2 items.
Yeah,
I would second that and propose June 11th.
June 11th.
Wednesday of next week.
I don't know about June 11th, but
Just so council knows I'm not.
Okay, so the motion is put forward by Councillor Abbott. Do we have a second for that?
Councillor Cunliffe, second.
Cunliffe,
Councillor Cunliffe seconded it. Do we have discussion on that? And sorry, the date was?
That was June the 11th, Councillor Cunliffe, who's been very
If
busy
possible.
this last week, a chance to catch up
Okay,
and do a report. And she's gonna, when I understand, she will share this, the same as everyone else has done, and then we can all look at each other's stuff and then we'll move more quickly.
okay. Well, Councillor Cunliffe, I appreciate that you put forward June 11th. I'm a little bit disappointed, though, that you've missed over 8 special council meetings, and now you're asking us to call another council meeting, special council meeting. So I'll have to check my calendar. I know the next council meeting is June 17th. And that might be more appropriate to put it there. In the interim, the work plan discussion, there's one column which is outstanding, and that's feedback from yourself, Councillor Cunliffe. So if you could provide us feedback prior or in advance of this meeting, that would be helpful.
Jamie just committed to do that. She said
Understood,
she'll
and
send
to be
that by
clear-
email and then we'll meet.
To be clear, I have not been absent from 8 special council meetings. Those did not have quorum, so therefore there was no absenteeism, just for the record.
Those were special council meetings that you were absent from.
Can I suggest we move on, please?
There was no quorum. I was not absent, for the record.
So you're just waiting to call the question.
Okay. All in favor of June 11th?
Yes.
Yes,
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so just to firm that up, Councillor Cunliffe, the work plan, you will provide feedback prior to that date, and we will be able to have a discussion on both items.
Sorry to be pedantic, but
confirmed.
what you're doing is supposed to be amending the agenda to include that discussion topic. So
Can you take it? We amended the agenda and we have.
may I steal those
Yeah.
mover and seconder to adopt the agenda as amended by adding a discussion around the date?
Okay,
that's
that's done.
acceptable?
Okay,
Is you okay with that? Would the agenda be amended to add?
and there was no other items on the agenda, so.
This is second. And you have a mover and second?
so shall we put that on the, so it's on the agenda and it's been, and it's been,
Not yet, you still have to do.
okay, we still have to deal with it.
Okay,
Okay, so the second motion. Should I put it forward?
is there anything else on the agenda?
No.
Amendments?
Is this the only thing?
This is the only thing.
Okay,
Only
yeah. there we go.
amendment.
Okay, so then I'll put forward a motion that all councillors will complete the work plan prior to and share with everyone else prior to a meeting to have deal with this matter on 11th of June.
Okay, do we have a second for
Can I
that?
make a friendly amendment and ask that all councillors and members of council provide their other feedback for the CAO review to all of council prior to the 11th?
That's fair.
Okay, do we have a second for that? Okay, Councillor Cunliffe, do I,
I'll second councillor Cunliffe's
Okay.
friendly amendment.
all right, comments on that? Councillor Broughton?
Point of clarification, what additional, what information are you looking for?
Well, we haven't seen the mayor's review yet.
Well, you have, as a matter of fact, I provided it, over a year ago, the initial response. And it was provided, to Councillor Broughton, who was collating all the responses. And it was also provided to council, this afternoon, and it's in the report that you're holding in your hand.
Okay,
So if you need more clarification on that or additional information, the only thing that's outstanding on that, I think, is the discussion.
okay, so your updated responses is in what we got this afternoon?
That is in that. And it was, that's the third time I've updated it. So I updated it over a year ago. We all updated it, I think, a week ago. And Councillor Conlon.
There was a request to update it in October, and there was a update done at that time, but it was incomplete.
It was,
because-
mine was updated in October and then redistributed about 2 weeks ago after our last regular council meeting. I have not yet seen all comments from all councillors succinct in one email, which I would like prior to the discussion on the 11th.
You've received 2 emails that have included that information, Councillor Cunliffe, but the most
If
recent
that
one
happened
was this afternoon.
I did not see that.
Okay, well,
If
it was
happened this
provided,
afternoon, I did not see that.
and it was provided prior to the last special meeting, which
Sorry, no,
unfortunately we didn't have a quorum.
no, sorry, it was not provided before the last special
There was
meeting.
an attachment
First time I've
missing
seen
then,
this.
because it was not provided.
There
prior to
was
the
information
special council meeting that was
provided.
called.
There's an
Everybody's
email string on
response
that.
was not provided to all of council prior to the special council.
All right, we're gonna, I think we've got a disagreement on that, but, the emails that were sent out were sent well in advance of that last special meeting. What I can do.
On a
and
point
I
of
think I
order,
can-
they were not, and I just want that statement made.
Okay,
We did not get them.
well, they were sent out to you. I'll just read you just a little bit of
And
the
we need
timeline.
to contact our tech department and see if there's a deficiency in attachments, because I did not receive that attachment.
Councillor Cunliffe, if you check your inbox this afternoon, you'll see it, and the report that's put on table
I
here to
did
the
not have an
council.
opportunity to check my inbox this afternoon. I was working and I did not get home until just in time to attend this evening's meeting.
Well, the information was also sent out, Councillor Cunliffe, prior to that last special meeting, which we unfortunately didn't have a quorum. Okay, so,
It was not in my attachment, so therefore maybe we need to contact Sea Sky and ask them to check our tech to see if there's an issue with attachments on emails. It was not there.
okay, Councillor Cunliffe, I think we can, we'll hopefully all be at the next special meeting, and then we can discuss in more detail. All right, with that, any further items?
If I make the resolution is the friendly.
Yeah,
Friendly amendment.
Yeah.
Well, if it's a friendly, you don't have to vote on it.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, motion to adjourn the meeting?
Was it, you didn't vote on
We haven't
that?
voted on this.
We haven't voted, okay. All in favor?
Yes,
Yes.
Councillor
Did we
Cunliffe?
ask the public to participate?
Oh, that's correct. We'll go to that. Okay, all in favor, Councillor Cunliffe?
in
I'll
favor?
take that as a
In
yea.
favor of the motion that
All
you
right.
made the
I
friendly
didn't
amendment?
hear if
to?
we had public participation.
Yeah, no,
We're
we
going
were
to go
just-
to that. We're just finishing up on this resolution.
we were trying to get your vote for the friendly amendment you put forward, we're taking it as
Oh,
yes.
yeah,
Okay,
sorry, I
motion
thought I
carried.
heard adjournment.
okay, motion carried. And we will go to public participation, item number 5. Anyone online? There's no one in the gallery tonight, so anyone online? No, okay, motion to adjourn the meeting,
So moved.
opposed, motion carried.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just to let you know, if you're thinking I will be at